Middleweight bout, Gerald Meerschaert coming in at plus 195 against Andre Petroski, sitting at minus 235, over under 2.5 rounds, plus 155 for the over, minus 185 for the under. Gerald Meerschaert, look at how many fights he's got. The man gets in scraps. And was looking through, his wins and losses. I always love to see that Jay Ellis loss in his second or third career fight. Always makes me laugh. But yeah, I mean, he's been around in the UFC for a while. You see, he's got 51 fights under his belt. Very experienced. He's always a live dog for sure. He's never out of the fight. Petroski has looked fairly good in the UFC. I would question the competition, at least in the UFC. He was on The Ultimate Fighter season 29. He lost to Brian Battle. He got submitted by Brian Battle on that season. He's a big favorite in here, though. I mean, he's looked good. And usually when you bet against Gerald Meerschaert, it looks really good until it doesn't when he catches you with something. So you'll probably, if you take Petroski, he'll probably come out, look really good. And if he does finish him, it'll look really good. Your bet will look amazing because it'll probably look minus 400, minus 500. But unless Gerald Meerschaert catches him with something, Petroski shoots a sloppy takedown, leaves his neck out there. Meerschaert snatches something up, and then you're like, damn, why did I bet minus 235 on Andre Petroski against Gerald Meerschaert, who's always live and has like 20 submissions on his record? So, yeah, I mean, that's really the concern for me. Like, this is a tough guy to go against when you're betting heavy chalk. That's just my thoughts. What are you thinking?
Yeah, the concern for me is the same exact way. I mean, Gerald Meerschaert has taken some losses recently. Like the big right hand to Hamzat was nasty, but Hamzat beats everybody. Yeah. Joe Pyfer, same thing. Joe Pyfer came out and just cracked him in the first round and put him out. But that's Joe Pyfer and that's Hamzat. That's not Andre Petroski. And Petroski burns hot in that first round, man. Like he will throw some big shots. He's got that big overhand. He fights like your typical UFC wrestler, in my opinion. Like he will get the takedowns. He will, get you up against the cage. Just look for that single leg into a double. And when he's on the feet, he is swinging, wildly and heavy. But I worry he's going to look at that Joe Pyfer fight and think that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to come out here, pressure him, throw these big shots, and put him out. But if he tries that, he better hope he finishes it. Because if he gets tired in this fight and he starts shooting sloppy takedowns, Gerald Meerschaert will submit him. Like he will find that neck at some point. He's a wizard on the ground. He's submitted some really, really good fighters. I mean, you look at Makhmed Muradov, who just beat the hell out of Brian Barberena and everybody was high on. Yeah, Gerald Meerschaert submitted that dude. You look at some of his past fights. I mean, he just finds ways to win. If the fight gets extended, he will find ways to win. You look at the Bruno Silva fight a few fights ago. Same exact thing. Got the late sub. So he's always live. I think if you play Gerald Meerschaert, you could get away with playing that round 2, round 3 sub. And if the fight gets past the first, he's got a super, super good chance to do it. So I like GM3. I'm not real high on Petroski. Like you said, hasn't really fought the highest level of competition. He is a strong, strong dude. And maybe he does turn into a really good fighter, but this is going to be a pretty big test just considering the style of GM3 and how dangerous he is when guys are trying to take him down. And if he leaves his neck exposed, it's going to be bad news. Give me GM3. I'm going to be a little risky here.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll go that far, but I do think I don't know if I could get behind the chalk for Petroski.
Right.
The only thing I will say for GM3 is like he's really just struggled with like big power punchers. I mean, you look like Hamza hit him with the shot. Pyfer, Ian Heinisch knocked him out round 1. He just doesn't take damage on the feet very good. Like even look at the Muradov fight. He was getting pieced up on the feet before Muradov kind of gassed in the second round and gets submitted. Petroski's got to fight smart. And I think he might come into this one maybe a little bit overconfident because his teammate is Joe Pyfer. And he's like, all right. I mean, Pyfer just absolutely murked him. I can go in there and probably do the same thing because I train with Pyfer every day. And I know how good Pyfer is. I think I'm on the same level. Well, buddy, you're not. You're not as good of a striker as Pyfer is. Your ground game, probably a little bit better as far as the takedowns go, but then you're just stepping right into Gerald Meerschaert's lane. So Yeah, I don't think Meerschaert's a bad dog play by any means. I mean, we've seen it throughout his career. He takes a loss, he'll bounce back with some performance that you're like, where did he come from with that? You know, like the fight against Bruno Silva was like, okay, Bruno Silva's a big power puncher, but then he was so scared of the ground game of Meerschaert.
Yeah.
He was just taking everything on the feet from Meerschaert. So yeah, for the sake of the show, I'm gonna go with Petroski. But Meerschaert definitely live. Definitely live.